for people of colour officer. Okay, so we're just going to move on to the next position. So this is the final full-time position of the evening, is it now? Okay, so going on to co-president welfare and campaigns. So first up we have Hugh Bendel-Samuel. Hugh?
Okay. Yeah. Hello everyone, I'm Hugh and I'm running to be the next co-president of Welfare and Campaigns, and I promise you that I will not resign in the first week. I'm the current academic affairs officer for the students union, sorry that's maybe. And I'm a part-time student studying a master's in the politics of conflict, rights and justice. Whilst doing my undergraduate degree at Exeter University, I was the employability for my college, and I was also library champion, which meant managing a fund of £3,000 to acquire new books for the rest of my department students. I was also elected twice as a year group rep for my subject of PPE. But before I go any further, I'd just like to say congratulations to everyone who has had the courage to stand for an elected position. I know that it takes a lot of guts and determination, and it's going to take a lot out of you probably next week. But I also just want to say that I think that it's going to bring out so much of the best of all of us, and I think it's going to make the union a better place, not just influence students, but also the staff and academics. My campaign supports a wide range of existing movements on campus, such as Enough is Enough, Justice for Workers, Fractionals for Fair Play, Prevent, and Decolonise SOAS. In fact, as Academic Affairs Officer, I have been on the working group for Decolonise SOAS. A couple of initiatives which I've found really interesting has been inviting Global South academics to come and give presentations at SOAS, and also considering how widening participation department can help reduce the attainment gap between BME students and the rest of the student body. In addition to these other campaigns though, I'd like to start up a Borders Off Campus Society to develop a sanctuary campus policy. This is a policy which would involve breaking contracts with security providers like G4S, Capita, MITI, Serco and Geo, and also adopt a policy that would agree to never take on contracts with these companies which run detention centres across the UK. Another incredibly important issue for me is the student mental health awareness. I believe that it's an endemic among students, and both in the everyday but also whenever a person loses a family member or goes through maybe they go through a depression or a period of high levels of anxiety. My mental health issues range on a large scale. So my idea is to be able to support societies as SOAS implement a Mind Charity logo to raise awareness within sports communities, but also I hope to do a mental health awareness week in my time as an elected officer. Finally, I'd like to make it a very clear objective of mine, which is to always listen to students and to staff and to academics about campaigns on the grassroots level and support them wherever I can. Thanks very much for your time and for listening.
Amy Thompson.
Hello. So actually I'm standing down from the elections for two reasons. One, I decided I want to do other things in my life, and yeah, it's another story. And two, I think the other manifestos, particularly one of them, obviously I can't say which one, is very strong, and I fully recommend not going on the popularity contest kind of style and reading the manifestos, seeing what is more particular, more solid in action, and vote for them. But yeah, go for it, guys.
Okay, so we have our final candidate, so it's Valeria.
Phil, thank you so much for being here today and for caring about this. Because caring about the SU is caring about how knowledge is produced and consumed inside the classroom and outside the classroom. Caring about this is caring about how SOAS extends the structures of heteropatriarchal, white supremacist, capitalist imperialism through the links that it has with institutions inside and outside the borders of this country. It's caring about how particular bodies are perceived, targeted and dealt with in order to fight back and create a culture of solidarity between struggles. And that's the reason why I'm running for this position. Because like you, I think that the SU has a key role in making sure that we create radical learning spaces that fight back that environment. This would be by providing adequately tailored welfare support for the community and by running and facilitating collective campaigns in order to create a culture of rights, dignity and respect at SOAS and beyond. The way I see myself doing this is by first of all ensuring that the SU is accessible and approachable by having clear office hours and by creating a welfare clinic where we provide one-to-one support with the casework at SOAS. I have been through the experience of accessing the non-accessible available support that SOAS has at this institution, and I think it takes a lot of support that needs to be dealt with. Also, it's super important to center the voices of the marginalized and liberation groups in this university at the center of those conversations. Also, it is extremely important to finally tackle the SU's and SOAS's ineptitude in dealing with gender-based violence, as the account for this campaign has been claiming for the academic year. And the way to do this is by not co-opting the campaign, but putting it at the forefront of our demands to the institution. Apart from that, I will continue the great work that the Art and the African Mind Society did yesterday by pushing for a black student support position and for mandatory unconscious bias workshops for all students and staff. This would be in addition to other campaigns to tackle the BME attainment gap as a step towards decolonizing our university. These issues demand structural change that superficial change is not being able to tackle. Also, it is important to reject at the national level the NSS and PREVENT as the institutionalized forms of surveillance and control of learning spaces that they are. And so as I would like to bring back the Saturday School and the Decolonizing Our Minds Summer School, as well as ensure that the OPS and the SU governance reform creates a more just work and study place instead of increasing the unbalanced power dynamics we already have here. Finally, as a non-home student myself, it would be essential for me to support students and workers with the difficulties our immigration status creates for us, especially in a hostile post-Brexit environment. Vote for the Val, you actually get to choose. Not like
Can I have questions for the prospective co-president welfare campaigns? So one. Any more questions? Okay, we'll just take...
We are called the SOAS Student Union. To you, what does union mean? What is the interpretation of it, and how will that translate in your campaigns for how we as a union will carry on, and what does it mean? What does union mean to you?
Great question, thanks for asking. I guess that's quite a philosophical question. I did do PPE, but it did not prepare me for this question. What I say? I say union is based on unity not just amongst students, but also between students, staff and academics, because our university isn't just made up of us, but actually also all staff from all levels. So yeah, I mean, simple question, what is a union? Is an agreement between people to keep on meeting, to keep on discussing issues that are important to us, and also to be able to know how to agree about disagreeing.
As Chris said in his manifesto, a union is inherently political. A union is people getting together and fighting for their rights. It's fighting for better terms and conditions. For students, maybe this is a student union, but it's also drawing, I don't think it's unity, I think it's solidarity between the workers, the people outside SOAS, and everything else that happens beyond this institution. So that would be a union for me. And of course, it has to be as representative as possible. So, do I still have time? Okay, so I will make sure that the funds are actually available.
question is, the word decolonizing and decolonization has been used quite a lot throughout the evening. And I wondered, as your role is welfare and campaigns officer, how would you support the Decolonizing Our Minds campaign, Decolonizing Environmentalism campaign, and how would you incorporate that into your role?
Okay, I think that like at higher education institutions, decolonizing is usually perceived as decolonizing the curriculum and making it much more broad and diverse. I think that it goes beyond that. It goes beyond it goes to challenge how class dynamics are dealt with. It goes around what kind of campaigns we actually connect to. So personally, yeah, I recognize this. I haven't been super involved with Decolonizing Our Mind Society, but to be honest, I don't claim to represent or to co-opt those campaigns. What I want to do is to facilitate that they actually happen.
Okay, thanks for your question. I guess decolonization, you have to look back at the history of SOAS, how it started 100 plus years ago, to the benefit of British diplomats to go abroad and serve this country. So I think we've moved on quite a long way from that, and SOAS means something completely different, especially